Yeah, interbeing is just ties new rephrasing of the one of fundamental teaching of the Buddha, which is interconnectedness. Like I always tell the children, it's like, you know, try to find me something that's not connected to anything else. You know, they go, oh, a brick. Like, well, where does a brick come from? You know, and so a star is like, where is, you know, people, yeah. So they'll come up with all kinds of stuff, and then when you look at, like, is it separate from other things? And it's very great. It's a great exercise, and I, you know, so interbeing is the notion that is uh, connected of this web of you know, causes and condition to link everything. It's quite modern, actually, considering that it was realized that, you know, 2,500 years ago. So it's quite modern in its you know, what they're finding out now with quantum physics and so on. Mm. And this is very linked to the idea of self. We think we're separate. You know, the mind loves to separate things. It's because of ignorance. Because we, you know, as a biological animal, you know, the idea of creating a self, an identity, you know, as children grow up, they form a self identity. And that's needed in biology, in biological evolution. Then you can be self sufficient, self reliant, and more independent from your parents. And so, what the spiritual awakening is like to really see through that and see that, well, actually, you know, without air, how could I live? And where does air come from? The trees. So there is a relationship to the tree. So you eat an apple, you're like, oh man, somebody brought this apple here. Where did this come from? So you begin to feel, so this kind of awareness, mindful, remembering, recollecting, like I shared, it gives us, you know, such awe and wonder about life. So interbeing is, you know, if you keep that alive and awareness, man, it's hard for you to blame anything because you see, like, yeah, that happened. Yeah, I see why it happened. They're ignorant of their connectedness. They think this group of people is different from that group of people. They start blaming and demonizing the other group, and they see they're their own brothers and sisters. And you look at the history of the area, man, like Vietnam, you know, like, you know, we, you know, once were gooks and, you know, VCs. They gave us names, so it makes it easier to kill us. But, you know, it's because they don't understand where we come from and who we are. You know? So humanity is growing up to and science as well, to see this interconnection of all things, and we become, yeah, hopefully less arrogant and of our human species as the dominant and everything else, the environment and, you know, marginalized cultures and peoples are here to serve us. You see, out of greed and ignorance, out of wrong perception, discrimination, biases, that we cause pain. And I think this is a fundamental way forward for humanity, to see the ecosystem and humans are part of it, not control or manage or, you know, the god of it, right? So this is very important idea, and in science and many parts of society, modern society is starting to wake up to that. Environmental movement, you know, a lot of things still discovering. Just I think the last 10 years, the mycelial layer, the fungi, right? Understanding, mm, yeah, many wonderful things. Animals communicating, and you know, there's certain things that you know you know, we're not aware of yet. How interconnected we are. The water system, the climate, how you mess with something, you know, you can have ramification. So this is something you can choose to ignore all you want, but eventually, you know, what we do to others, what we do to the environment, to the water, to the air will affect us because they are us. I think living like that is, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do that because everything, you know, has a effect, right? But it's also a wonder to see how what a miracle it is to be alive. All the causes and conditions, the interbeing nature. You know, and even just in intimate psychological term, like you and your dad. You know, like you grow up and you feel like, oh, that's my dad and this is me, and it had nothing to do with me. But you see, when he suffers, it's hard for you to be completely happy. So there's this deep link with you and your father. And so this is something mm, people don't see, and why they go looking for happiness in the wrong places because they haven't really reconciled with these elements that are, you know, inevitably and undeniably connected to you. So you cannot go, oh, that had nothing to do with me. Oh, that's another part of group of people. That's not us. And you see there's pain because they are a part of us as well. One of the things that I've come in touch with and helped me transform, and with my dad, with other peoples, and so I begin to see this informing my life more. Yeah, notion of interbeing, but it's a practice. It's not a notion only. You got to practice it. When you eat, you got to contemplate. The things on your food, on your plate. So interbeing naturally brings wonder and gratitude, and so you begin to live like that with a plate of food. When you open the faucet, this water, man, with just a turn of a nozzle, it's like that is a miracle. So this is something I learned from my teacher. I remember him all the time. When he turns on the water, he just doesn't turn it full. He just turns it really slowly, And in the hut, I can hear him in the bathroom, and you can hear the sound of the water, but when you turn it on, it's like full blast. And yeah, that comes up with me all the time when I'm in the bathroom. And do I really need to like full blast? So, but when I'm forgetful and I don't know and I'm not really, but I will remember and I'm like, okay. And I remember Gatha, all this water, it comes from high in the mountain, from deep in beneath the earth. It comes to me to wash my hand, and I vow to use it in the most compassionate way. So you using that water, all of a sudden what you're supposed to do. So see, washing water is very connected to everything else. So interbeing is it helps us remember if you keep it alive and keep it as a practice reminder. So it's not just a philosophical practice. It's like, oh, you have debates about